What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about SoFi. So the market's been open roughly about 1 hour. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down what's really influencing it today, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. With that said, let's get right to it. So right now it is down 0.64%. A lot of volume so far. 11.19 million shares have been traded. 53 is the average. You can tell there is signs that it does want to break out. So I think that in general should be fairly good, at least a good rubber stamp for it to run up to at least $7.17. But again, I'm going to talk on technicals and everything else. Today, there has been no news from SoFi, no SEC filings, nothing like that. But briefly talking on SEC filings, I did say in my video yesterday that it would be very advantageous for the sentiment for Anthony to buy some shares. A lot of people just started to say that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about and blah, blah, blah. So under the SEC's website, there was this. So on March the 13th, there were several Form 4s that did come out. And in those Form 4s, it shows right here that various individuals, this one I kind of pulled up was 𝗪𝗧𝗪, and they did receive some options, so restricted stock units. And so A is obviously acquired, but this is not stock. Just be aware of that. They did not actually buy using their own money or anything like that, because that would be transaction code P, and plus it would be right here, not here. So I think there's just a lot of people that don't know what the hell they're talking about, and I think that does stem back down to this. So SoFi, and plus a lot of stocks as well, have a very large retail backing, and I think in among that, a lot of people just don't know what the hell they are talking about. So this is why I made the channel, hopefully to educate individuals. Even when it was around the 1050, I signaled, despite me having a position, I said it is going to go down. And most recently, when it did fail to get above that 100-day moving average, I did realize that there was going to be a further pullback that was going to happen. And lo and behold, it did. A lot of people are saying that technicals are not really relevant with SoFi, and I think that they are completely out of left field. And again, a lot of people thinking that shorts aren't really influencing SoFi is also very wrong, because many days, excluding today, because big money is getting into SoFi today, but excluding today, like big money has been taking a step back. So institutions have just been watching SoFi. So shorts, even though they go in and out, they're the ones influencing the price. So for some individuals to say that technicals or shorts don't matter, I think that they are in the wrong stock, and they just don't know what they're talking about. So again, there was a couple of Form 4s that did come out, nothing really crazy to write home about in my opinion. But speaking on shorts, actually while I'm on here, I'll just quickly go over this. So I have been monitoring to see analysts, what they've been doing. So there hasn't been any recent analyst ratings or new ones to talk on. But for estimates, they have actually raised Q1 earnings per share and revenue estimates. I know it might be a little bit premature to start talking on Q1 numbers and results, but for instance, revenue did go from 568.38 to 569.63 million. So analysts are still very much optimistic about SoFi and do clearly realistically assume that their Q1 earnings are going to be a home run. So I think all in all, definitely that should be fairly good. But quickly going over shorts. So right now they're not doing all that much. 18.76% of the free float is being shorted. 171.25 million shares overall are being shorted. And I kind of looked at it pre-market. Cost to borrow minimum was negative first thing. So that did insinuate, once again, more manipulation. Since then, it's kind of rectified itself. But cost to borrow average is 1.07%. Talking on options for a second, so $1.8 million in calls being purchased versus 1.16 million in puts. Sentiment-wise, somewhat evenly divided, so 49% of all the options being done today are bearish and clearly anticipating for SoFi to trend down. And of the call options that are being purchased, there's a very strong consensus for it to be roughly above $7. So not that much optimism associated to that. And then looking at puts, there's an anticipation for it to be sub $7. So clearly $7 is a very key pivot based on, at least for today, the options are expiring on March the 15th. So when it comes down to options, as I've pointed out in the past, whenever you do have large resistance walls, essentially, you're going to have manipulation. You're going to have market makers not wanting it to get over certain levels. And this is the only reason why SoFi is not really higher. A lot of growth stocks are rebounding today from yesterday's sell-off. SoFi logically fits that criteria. This is why I said it does show some signs that it wants to break out. Just at the same time, you do have that small wall at $7. Logically, if it gets over around 707, I think market makers are just going to cover and buy the shares on the secondary market today. So that could give it a nice bump up, but potentially not above that 750. So right now there's 17,000 in open interest at that $7 strike price, 24 at the 750, 38 at the 8, and you guys can read the rest. I don't think it's realistic for it to get anywhere close to those levels today. So all in all, it's just a lot of manipulation still with SoFi. These are some of the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market above $100,000, and even yesterday there was a lot of activity after hours, such as right here, 9.57, 1.76. So a lot of big money is paying attention to SoFi. Just obviously the bigger forces and entities are kind of restricting it overall. These are some of the transactions that are occurring on the dark pool. So dark pool very much commonly used by shorts and large institutions. And then just quickly talking on right here on the technicals. So with it at $7 on the mark right now, it is just between these 2 points. So the S2 and this S1. So 717, like I've brought up in the past, has been a very strong support, but unfortunately, it did fail to hold yesterday, so that's going to be the next strong resistance. Obviously, that does turn. So all in all, like I said, you're going to have that kind of options resistance generated at that $7 mark and then 717. But if it does get to around 707, you'll see a very nice kind of bump up in the price for that, and that will just be market makers covering their options. So that 17,000 in open interest. On the actual chart, lower percentile of the Bollinger Band right here, and looking at stochastic, you do see a bearish deviation still, so red line above the white, but it is considered oversold. So if, again, there's a good piece of news, hint, hint, Anthony buying physical shares using transaction code P, so not acquiring shares from RSU, physically buying shares using transaction code P, then that could really boost the price and, of course, incentivize value investors to come in. Number of retail investors have been getting out over the last little bit, so let me know your thoughts on that. And if you are one of those individuals that have been selling, buying, let me know your thoughts on potentially why and when you would buy back in. But all in all, I feel like SoFi is being kind of held back today. It should be easily above $7, but then again, what do I know? I'm not a financial advisor. With that, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that, and hopefully everyone has a good weekend ahead. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and with that, appreciate all of you watching.